State lawmakers gavel in for the 84th Texas legislative session. We take a look at one of the biggest issues already on their agenda, guns carried out in the open. And while they're already at work, Governor-elect Greg Abbott prepares to start his new job in just a few days. We go one-on-one with the man who will soon lead the state. And we take an in-depth look at the legislative plan to catch overweight trucks, something that might mean a lot more state troopers in Texas.
It has been the highest of honors to serve as your governor for the last 14 years.
After 14 years, Rick Perry says goodbye to the governor's office. Good morning. Thanks for joining us for State of Texas In Depth. I'm Josh Hinkle. This week, Texas' longest-serving governor gave his farewell address to lawmakers. While many expect him to make another bid for the presidency in the coming months, he instead focused on lawmakers' future, urging bipartisanship to keep Texas moving forward.
Compromise is not a dirty word if it moves Texas forward. If members of this body will work across party lines, put Texas first, I believe the best is yet to come.
As Perry exits, other leaders are staying put. On the first day of the legislative session, we found out the man who has led the Texas House will stay in power. Speaker Joe Straus won his race against fellow Republican Scott Turner. It wasn't much of a surprise. Turner only got 19 votes. However, this is the first time in 40 years that there was an active challenge in the Speaker's race. The legislature has also been busy hammering out details for the committees that will take up bills this session. Members assigned to education-related panels will have a big challenge as the school finance debate is still tied up in courts. They must decide how to proceed with funding, wait, or move forward with the current system, something Democrats say doesn't give schools enough money. Another big issue the legislature will consider this session, whether Texans should be able to openly carry handguns in public. KXAN's Kevin Schwaller shows us why some supporters are trying to get attention by standing armed outside the Capitol.
One kind of open carry is allowed here in Texas. You can carry a long gun. And that's exactly what Come and Take It Texas was doing right here today. They were also manufacturing pieces of guns with a machine here. And several bills will now allow them, if passed, to carry handguns openly as well.
Today I have the AR-15.
Two groups are arming themselves for this legislative session, one with guns and another with petitions.
Our group is going to go in and we're going to be delivering these to our representatives.
They're supporting a bill from Texas Representative Jonathan Stickland. It would allow open carry and get rid of handgun licensing requirements.
We're not doing away with the CHL permit. We're simply making it optional.
I feel like every time we have to go submit for a CHL now, we're having to prove ourselves innocent in order to use our right.
Stickland's bill is one of 5 bills already filed to allow open carry, but the only one of them that does away with licensing as well. In this park, you've actually taken your kids to that?
Oh, yeah, many times.
Nicole Green is part of the Texas chapter of Moms Demand Action for Gun Sense in America. The group formed after the shooting at Sandy Hook Elementary School. They're also visiting with lawmakers and have concerns about open carry.
Living in a state with unlicensed open carry is just not the state we want to live in.
Nicole doesn't want to have to tell who the bad guys and good guys are if guns are openly in the picture. While these demonstrators try to make sure not only these guns stay in the picture, but Texas loosens its rules. Governor-elect Greg Abbott has said he will sign an open carry bill if it makes it to his desk. Reporting from the state capitol, Kevin Schwaller, KXAN News.
You're a tyrant to the Constitution of the United States of America.
You won't be here very long, bro.
I won't be.
We the people are coming to take Texas back.
Y'all can walk outside now.
This heated exchange came as protesters fought for open carry without a permit. Protesters visited several lawmakers' offices, including State Representative Poncho Navarez. One demonstrator posted the video online. The exchange, in part, prompted lawmakers to make it easier to install panic buttons. Now we're hearing from both the Eagle Pass Democrat and the man behind the camera.
You told me that you yourself own guns.
Oh, I own a lot of guns. I bet I probably own more guns than all those people in the office that came in put together. I mean, I have a lot of weapons, and you know, we have a shooting range on my place, and so I don't think they really did their homework with the person that they came to accuse of not being a Second Amendment supporter, because I'm anything but that.
If you support the Second Amendment, you support the bill that we had provided for him. And he admitted that he didn't support it. He wasn't going to support it. He admitted that he was a tyrant to the Constitution.
The man behind the camera, Corey Watkins, told KXAN by phone that he wouldn't support an open carry law that requires a permit. He says the Constitution is clear. You don't have to ask permission or pay a tax to have a gun. Well, have you started packing yet? Have the Perrys given you any decorating ideas for the mansion?
You know, we haven't begun the packing process yet, but we're prepared for the move and really looking forward to it. But I would say most importantly, we're honored to have the opportunity to represent the people of the state of Texas in the People's Mansion.
Governor-elect Greg Abbott ready to move into the governor's mansion. We speak one-on-one about him deploying a strike force into the state's biggest agency, even before taking office this week. Next on State of Texas In Depth.
Whether you voted for me, against me, or didn't vote at all, I'm going to work every single day to keep Texas the best state in the United States of America.
I'm greatly humbled by the trust of the people.
From a sweeping election night a few months ago to Inauguration Day in just a few days. For the first time in well over a decade, Texas will have new leaders in the state's top 2 posts. Last week, we spoke with Lieutenant Governor-elect Dan Patrick, and this week we went one-on-one with Governor-elect Greg Abbott about his proactive approach to sort out major problems at the state agency getting most of your tax dollars, Health and Human Services. This week, you announced the deployment of an independent strike force to look at the management into the Health and Human Services Commission. What really prompted that? What specific things did you see that were going wrong?
You know, there's been a series of red flags raised at the Health and Human Services Commission, and specifically related to contracts, but also related to other issues. There is an auditor that is looking into the contract challenges that have been raised. What I want to do in my role as governor is I want a comprehensive review of the entire agency, looking into the way the programs are structured so that Texans can have confidence that the way that the Health and Human Services Commission is structured is something that Texans can trust in and believe in and support.
Certainly here in the Austin area, the Colton Turner case has brought a lot of spotlight to the CPS division of that. Does that have anything to do with the reason you made this decision?
Well, I was concerned about that even before that case came up. And my role as Attorney General is an observer of the Child Protective Services. It's an area that I've been concerned in for a long time, and it's an area that I want to see improve dramatically. No child should have to go through any kind of challenge because they are in the CPS system, and I want to make sure that we meaningfully improve CPS in Texas.
For HHSC, Commissioner Janik is one of Governor Perry's appointments. Knowing that he has been in charge of this agency during all of these problems, do you think that there's any chance you could remove him from that office?
You know, our goal right now is really not on personnel, it's on programs. And the first thing that we have to do is we need to make an assessment of the programs that are in place, what, if anything, is wrong with those programs, what needs to be done to improve those programs. And after we can figure out the structure of the agency and what needs to be improved, then we can go about the process of personnel.
Governor-elect, thank you.
Thank you.
Abbott's job as Texas governor will begin on Tuesday when we will live stream his inauguration ceremony starting at 11 a.m. on KXAN.com. But remember, Texas lawmakers are already back to work, and a big issue for them, transportation. Coming up, thousands of semi-trucks skirting the law every year in Texas and actually making traffic worse. An in-depth look at the legislative plan that could solve this costly problem. Next on State of Texas In Depth. It's something that affects us all every day, transportation funding. And even though you voted in November to spend billions on new highway construction and maintenance, the state says it still needs a lot more money. So this session, we found lawmakers looking to lighten the load in other areas of the budget to help your highways. Stepping on the scale, checking your weight. For many people, if you can avoid it, you do. In Texas, it's easy for semi-trucks to do the same, bypassing weigh stations along our highways. Most of them are closed most of the time because the Department of Public Safety can't afford to man them.
Oh, I started off in Dallas this morning.
Ben Hanley says this site south of Austin was the first one he's seen open on I-35 all day. The green light means he's required to exit and drive over a giant scale so DPS can inspect the weight of his truck and cargo.
I'm sure they can't keep them open 24/7 all the time. Some of them are, some of them aren't.
Allowing overweight trucks to skirt the law and do damage like this, putting too much pressure on your roads.
The bad road is definitely potholes and fissures in the road where they've cracked open and rough so that we don't have a smooth drive.
Too much weight on the truck, too much weight on the bridges.
Researchers say an 80,000-pound truck does about as much road damage as 9,600 cars. If this pavement is designed to last 30 years, trucks just 5% over the legal limit would force the state to replace this road 5.5 years earlier than it should, which might mean spending more of your money faster on maintenance instead of something like the traffic you're sitting in every day.
They're tired of sitting in congestion. I'm tired of sitting in congestion.
Before leaving office, Lieutenant Governor David Dewhurst pushed a plan to pump millions into the state's weigh station system, which already does a lot with the limited resources available. In the last 3 years, DPS weighed more than 75,000 trucks, ticketing more than 60,000 drivers for overweight violations. Dewhurst says more inspections would mean less highway damage and more money for other transportation problems.
When you look at how much money you can save on maintenance by not tearing up the roads you just built for billions of dollars, it's a no-brainer.
So he worked with DPS on an extra budget request this legislative session, nearly $92 million for upgrades to existing stations and more than 200 full-time workers, most of those new DPS troopers, to man those sites and expand commercial vehicle enforcement across the state.
Make sure that we've got our weigh stations manned, not just 10 hours a week or 40 hours a week, but 24/7, 365 days a year.
And while sitting on a scale might take more time for truckers like Hanley, he says it beats bad roads, repair work, and more time sitting in traffic for everyone.
No, doesn't make it fun for us either.
We've discovered one of the brand new inspection stations in the DPS proposal would be in Hays County. There is no time frame for that construction yet because the request must first be approved during lawmakers' budget process over the next 5 months. We've also learned that the Texas Trucking Association, the organization behind the trucking industry, has worked with lawmakers and DPS in recent years on technology upgrades for weigh stations like pre-pass devices. 3 stations already have them.
These are transponders that are in these trucks out here that are able to communicate with weigh stations a mile out. They're weighed in motion as they cross. Their registrations are checked. They go through a number of items that are essentially checked before they ever reach a weigh station, and they're given a green light or a red light as to whether to pull in or not.
The group says Texas already has 3 new weigh stations with this ability, and DPS budget request could result in even more. Thank you for joining us for State of Texas In Depth. Remember, you can join us every Sunday morning at 8:30 for a broader look at Texas politics. Meet the Press is coming up at 9. I'm Josh Hinkle. Have a great day.